The night my father humiliated me in front of our entire family for not owning a lake house, he had no idea he was standing inside the dining room of the woman who actually owned the lakefront property my golden child sister had been secretly renting. By the time the silence settled over the table, everyone would discover the truth, including my sister, who had no idea she had spent months falling behind on rent owed to me. Our family had a tradition of celebrating New Year's a day early. Every December 30th, nearly 20 relatives packed into my parents' dining room. The long oak table overflowed with food, expensive wine, and loud conversations that lasted well into the night. My father, Richard, had started drinking long before dinner. By dessert, his voice had grown louder than everyone else's, and confidence had replaced common sense. He stood, tapped his spoon against a champagne glass, and launched into one of his usual speeches about success, family, and ambition. Then he turned toward me. "So, Ava," he said with a smug grin, "when are you finally going to stop renting and buy yourself a lake house like your sister Vanessa?" Laughter rolled around the table. Vanessa smiled proudly, adjusting the sleeve of her designer sweater as though she deserved another round of applause. I simply smiled. For years, I had been the invisible daughter, the dependable one who never caused trouble. Whenever someone made me the punchline of a joke, I swallowed the hurt and stayed quiet. My silence made life easier for everyone else. But that night, I was tired. I calmly placed my glass on the table. "Actually," I said, meeting my father's eyes, "Vanessa doesn't own that lake house." The room instantly fell silent. My father's drink stopped halfway to his lips. Vanessa's confident smile disappeared. Every pair of eyes shifted toward me, waiting for an explanation. The silence reminded me of my childhood. Growing up, Vanessa received praise for ordinary accomplishments, while my achievements were treated as expectations. Straight A's earned me a nod of approval. Vanessa barely passing an exam earned her a family celebration. I stopped questioning the unfairness before I even reached middle school. By 14, I had accepted that speaking up changed nothing. Remaining quiet hurt less than constantly fighting to be noticed. My family mistook my silence for weakness. They never realized I had simply learned that nobody was interested in hearing my side of the story. After high school, Vanessa enrolled at a prestigious university with our parents paying whatever her scholarships didn't cover. I stayed close to home, attended a state college, and relied on grants, part-time jobs, and determination. My mornings started before sunrise, my afternoons were spent in class, and my weekends disappeared into extra shifts. Eventually, I transferred to a university in Texas and earned my computer science degree just as remote technology careers exploded. While the world struggled through uncertainty, I quietly built a successful career as a software engineer. Long hours, discipline, and patience became my greatest strengths. Whenever my father asked how much I earned, I quoted a number far below the truth. I continued driving my aging Corolla, wore simple clothes, and never flaunted my success. My family assumed I was barely getting by. I never corrected them. The less they knew about my finances, the less they could interfere. In 2021, I discovered a beautiful waterfront home overlooking a peaceful lake. The price had dropped during a slow market, and I recognized an opportunity. Using funds from a trust established through my late grandmother's estate, I purchased the property anonymously. Public records listed only the trust, not my name. After renovating the house, I hired an experienced property manager named Diane Foster. She handled every detail while keeping my identity completely confidential. The arrangement worked perfectly. The home generated steady rental income, and my family remained convinced I was still the least successful person among them. Then everything changed. One morning, Diane forwarded a rental application for my approval. The applicant's name made me freeze. Vanessa Carter. My own sister wanted to rent my lake house. She included financial documents and a guarantor, claiming she planned to entertain clients and spend weekends there. I stared at the application for several minutes before replying with a single word. Approved. I could have revealed the truth immediately, but I didn't. Instead, I wanted to know how long Vanessa would continue pretending to own a lifestyle she had merely rented. Month after month, she bragged about her lake house during family gatherings, while I quietly reviewed rental reports. Eventually, another report arrived. Vanessa had stopped making payments. Her unpaid balance continued growing until it reached nearly $50,000. I said nothing. I simply waited for the right moment. That moment arrived at our family's New Year's dinner. I returned from the hallway with my phone already unlocked. Every conversation had stopped. My father still gripped his champagne glass, while Vanessa watched me with narrowed eyes, clearly expecting me to apologize for ruining the evening. Instead, I placed my phone in the center of the table. "I think everyone deserves to see this," I said. I opened the trust documents and property records, explaining that my grandmother's estate had funded the purchase in 2021 through an irrevocable trust. The trust owned the lake house, but I was its sole beneficiary and manager. My identity had never appeared in the public records, which was exactly how I intended it. Then I opened another file. Vanessa's rental application filled the screen. "I approved this application myself," I said calmly. "You've been renting my property for almost 2 years." No one spoke. Finally, I opened the payment history. The balance owed was $48,400. The number seemed to drain every ounce of confidence from my father's face. Vanessa stared at the screen, speechless, before finally finding her voice. "You let everyone think I owned it," she snapped. I met her eyes without raising mine. "No," I replied. "I let you keep telling that story. I simply stayed quiet, the same way this family taught me to for most of my life." My father slammed his hand on the table. "You embarrassed this family." "I did," I answered evenly, "because for years you gave Vanessa the spotlight while expecting me to disappear into the background. Tonight, I finally chose not to." The dinner ended in complete silence. The following morning, I instructed Diane Foster to begin the legal process. Vanessa received formal notice to pay the overdue rent or surrender the property. My parents insisted everything could be worked out privately, but no payment ever arrived. 30 days later, the locks were changed. A few months afterwards, the house sold during a booming market, earning the trust a remarkable profit. Shortly after, I accepted a promotion in Austin, changed my phone number, and left my old life behind. For years, I believed silence was my greatest weakness. I was wrong. Silence had given me the time to work harder, save smarter, and build a future without anyone's approval. When the truth finally came out, I didn't need to argue or seek revenge. The paperwork spoke for itself. As I drove toward my new home, I realized I wasn't walking away from my family. For the first time in my life, I was walking toward myself. If you'd like, I can also make this version more dramatic and emotional in the style commonly used for viral YouTube storytelling while keeping the same plot.